Yo, what is up guys? It is your boy Zether back at it again with a brand new video. This being a story time because you guys voted for it and I'm here to deliver. Sorry that it did take a little longer to get out here. It's just that your boy still wasn't out here with the fast internet that I have now and all this other stuff that I'm adding. But that being said though, this is definitely going to be a little bit of a crazy story. So without any further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, okay, Zether, how did this happen? Now, let me explain. So this story is actually all going to take place in 7th grade, the beginning of 7th grade year. Before I ever moved out to the area that I live in now, I currently live in, Tempe, but before I used to live in Phoenix. That being said, I used to go to a school that I'm not really going to disclose, but I used to have a couple of friends, right? It was me and this kid. We're just going to give him the name of Jason. Now, me and Jason, basically, that's not his real name, by the way. Basically, in 7th grade, we were like best buds, right? And we were just basically hanging out and, everything was all good. It was a normal day. I woke up, all that normal stuff that everyone does. I got on the bus. It was a pretty average day. And everything was honestly going great up until my 4th period. See, at this time, I was basically in class and the entire class was basically doing this thing where we all essentially had to walk up to the board and basically write down some answers. Or no, it wasn't some answers. We were doing presentations and we were doing group projects, right? So it was me, Jason, we're just gonna call, there was a girl in our group and we're just gonna go call her Lucy. Yeah, we're gonna call her Lucy. So it was me, Jason, and Lucy. And we were basically doing a project. I honestly forgot what it was about. I think it was like a earth science class. So we were basically talking about science and earth. And we had basically done our little presentation. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was that kid who basically just leached off of everyone else at that time. And I didn't really do much. So I could tell they were kind of annoyed by me. But I basically kept everything entertaining because I was just cracking jokes. And just, I was just that guy who just basically chilled. And, wasn't doing much. So that kind of irked them. But it's okay, though. Still friends. That being said, though, basically everything was going by normal. And it was just me and Jason talking in the back with Lucy. Now, all of us were basically just talking about how we're going to do this presentation. And we were all basically hoping that that we wouldn't have to present today, but the next day. So we were basically just watching a couple people present. And this is when, out of nowhere, my boy, little Timmy down there just decided that he was gonna do a little bit of waking up. Now, I was just chilling there in class, and this is when, out of nowhere, it just decides that it's gonna go up. So I was just sitting there, and then out of nowhere, I can just feel it, and I'm like, oh no. And thanks to my luck, it literally happens right as that happens. The teacher calls us. He's like, Jason's group, will you guys please come down here and present? And basically from there, I essentially raised my hand and I asked the teacher to come over here. And this is when I was basically too embarrassed to say anything. And when he said, yeah, what do you need, Alex? I was like, it's nothing. So what I decided to do was pretty much grab it while nobody was looking, tug it between my legs, and basically just move it to the side. And I try to make it look as least obvious as possible, but the pants I was wearing were not helping. I wasn't wearing no joggers or none of that stuff. We had uniforms, but those pants, man, they're pretty much see-through. Yeah, not the greatest thing in the world. Now, we all basically started walking down there, and I was hobbling like a little penguin, trying not to have it move. And nobody really noticed it except for my friend Jason, who basically pointed it out. And he was like, yo, dude, what's going on? Did you just wake up? What the fuck? And I was just sitting there dude, be quiet. Don't say anything. I swear to God, I'll kill you if you tell anybody. And he was like, relax, dude. Nobody will notice as long as you don't slip up or something. And honestly, I started doing the presentation on my part. And most of the time nobody really could tell since they were kind of looking at the board. But this is when the teacher pretty much decided that, oh, I forgot to mention, the lights were basically off because we were using the projector, right? And the teacher, like, right as we were like halfway in there, he said, hold up guys, I gotta do something. So he turns on the lights, right? And it was just little old me there, right? Like me, Jason, and Lucy were just standing there. And as soon as those lights go on, everybody and their mothers could basically see it, as I was just standing there and my face went red as a tomato. And I was just basically standing there like, oh no, this is not okay. As, you know, Jason just starts laughing his absolute, you know, ass off, as he just begins to start chuckling. And this is when I'm like, dude, be quiet, as he cannot stop dying. And everybody in the class starts laughing. The girls are just staring at me, and I'm just like, oh. And at this point, I did not look at all like what I looked like. At this point, I was a chubby little kid. You know, I had this weird hairstyle, and I had to wear like this red shirt and like these khaki pants and just some ugly little shoes that I had. It was not okay, to say the least, right? So I'm doing my business, and I basically put my hands in there, and I'm just like, and the teacher just basically tells everyone, quiet down, guys. He's like, do you need to go outside? I'm like, yeah. So I walk outside, and I literally just sit there, just like, oh my God, my life is over, right? And the teacher basically, I can just hear him in the side basically saying, you guys are not to speak about this to anybody. If I find out, you guys are getting you know, detention or points deducted off your grade. Just, it's normal, it's natural, leave the kid alone, right? So there I am, just like, oh no, he made it even worse. And then basically by the end of the class, I basically come back in like 10 minutes later, and I just sit in the back with my friend just talking, as he's just sitting there laughing his, you know, off at me. And I'm just like, dude, come on, don't do me like this. As he's like, I'm sorry, bro, but this was just too hilarious. And I'm just like, you're right. As I basically look at him, and I'm like, I'm gonna get you back for this. And this is when basically I get all my bags and my stuff, and I go to walk out, as the teacher basically says, hey, Alex, can you stay back a bit? And I'm just like, oh no, what is this about? As I'm just thinking, okay, two things could happen here. Number one, he can send me to the office, or number two, he's going to talk to me about it and tell me it's normal. So, you know, thanks to my luck, I basically had the teacher basically tell me that it was okay. And he's like, he understands. And I was like, oh, thank God. And he basically told me, like, it's normal, like, I don't need to worry about it, you know, that stuff happens sometimes. He basically begins to tell me that, you know, he told people that not to say nothing, and I was like, I know, I heard. I was like, probably shouldn't have done that. That might have just made things a little worse for me. But he was like, oh, I didn't mean to. And then he was like, that's what you were trying to talk to me about, wasn't it, before you went up to present? As I was like, kinda. And he just goes, yeah, next time, instead of feeling embarrassed, tell me, and maybe this won't happen another time. As I just look at him, and I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, I'll do that. As after all this, like, basically happened, the next couple of months kind of sucked, until I basically ended up leaving that school. Not for this reason, but simply just due to me moving. Actually, no, a couple of weeks passed by, and everything basically calmed down. Everybody stopped really caring about it, and like, I went back to normal. But a couple months later, I had to move out of there because, well, we found another house in the new area where I live in, and everything has pretty much been goated ever since I got here. That being said, though, guys, this is literally where I'm going to be ending the story time. To this day, every time I think about that day, it just keeps me up at night. No, but seriously, all jokes aside though, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that story time. Let me know if you guys want any more, seeing as I will, of course, be providing more if you guys want some. This was just a little fun story time for me to tell you guys. I can definitely start doing more of these often if you guys enjoyed the video premise or just want to see some other stories. Maybe let me know down below in the comments what you thought about it. Let me know how much fun you guys had at my expense. And, you know, I'll definitely be dropping more of these little story times if you guys want more, as I already said. That being said, though, guys, make sure to go check out my what ifs if you guys are here as a new viewer just because of the thumbnail, or, you know, just stumbled across the story time. Make sure to go check out my other stuff that I do, as I do My Hero Academia content, Naruto content, and I do story times just like this, just about like what would happen if certain character did this, and that. Just go check out the channel. Pretty fun stuff. That being said, it has been your boy Zedder, and I am out. Peace.